So why did you choose occupational therapy as your profession?
I chose it because okay, we'll start with the beginning. I did not know what I wanted to do when I went to college. Had no clue. And I started as a business major.
Okay.
Took my first, I think it was marketing class. That was not for me. So my dad, who worked for the health department in Little Rock, he was the one who said, I think you need to check into this, because he employed OTs and he just thought it was an amazing profession. Right. So I kind of did some research, studied up on it, and then I went and job shadowed an OT at an acute care hospital in Little Rock and fell in love with it. And she was amazing. She was the best OT. And when I applied to the program, I walked in with my acceptance letter, and she had told me when I left doing my volunteer hours, she was like, I will do everything I can to get you into the program. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. Just, but right. When I walked in to accept my, turn in my letter, she was standing there. So she had actually taken a job in the OT department at UCA. So awesome. It was just, it just meant a whole lot. But, and she just smiled at me and she was like, I couldn't really pull strings, but I couldn't tell you I had taken this job. But anyway, it's just that once I was in the acute care setting and got to meet the patients and see what an impact, because the day that I went and shadowed her, she was doing cooking with an elderly little man who had a stroke. And so that was his passion. He loved to cook. And he had not been able to since his stroke. Right. And so they had a simulated kitchen. And so we fried okra. I mean, this is like almost 25 years ago. And I remember the little old man's face, and I remember how excited he got. And he was able, when it was over, he was just like, he had no clue that he'd ever be able to do that again. So it was just such a good feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's why,
Okay, so how long have you been working in the field?
I have been an OT for 19 years.
19 years.
Graduated in December of 96.
Okay.
And so.
Okay. And then I'll go into, what was your undergrad and grad school like? What did you go into? And
okay. We were bachelor's. Entry level.
Okay.
So we did not have to we didn't have to have a degree to get into a program. You took 2 years of prereqs, and then you applied to the program. And so basically they gave you a list of basics that you had to, take, and then you could apply to the program at that point. And so we graduated with bachelor's. It's changed since then. So whole different ballgame. But so I do not have like an undergrad degree.
Okay.
Once we were in the program, we had such a strong background on psychology and sociology. I think that would be an amazing, we actually had enough hours to have a minor in psychology. Okay. So, I think that's an excellent avenue to go towards. Okay.
And then what advice would you give to someone pursuing this profession?
Oh, what advice? Gosh. At this point, when someone's chosen this career, I would hope they've got a reason. What has turned them in this direction? The field's changed so much in the last 19 years. Okay. And, I've watched the income fluctuate. A lot of that is also due to all the healthcare changes that are going on. And it doesn't take long for things like that to happen. So you have to look at it as in, I've known people that have gotten into it just because, it's a great profession and the money's there. Well, it is. It will keep you very comfortable. Is it what it was 5 years ago? No. The money is a lot different than it was 5 years ago, but Medicare has changed a lot in 5 years.
Has the money changed due to more people going to school, or what do you mean by that exactly?
Around here, I think, a lot of it's due to the Medicare changes. Okay. There are now caps on Medicare, and so we're only allotted so much money to reimburse for therapies. Right now, PT and speech therapy have to share a cap. How that happened, I have no clue, but OT has their own cap. And so that more affects like outpatient services, Medicare as far as in the nursing home, Part B patients. There's Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B. Medicare Part A is those patients that are acutely ill, have been in the hospital, and so they can come to, let's say, a rehab facility or a nursing home. They've got 100 days, so they're covered. That's not a problem. It's when they meet that 100 days, but they're not 100%. Well, then you're limited in just a certain amount of money that you can do for therapy to get them well. And once you hit that cap, their money's out. So it becomes either out of pocket, and elderly can't afford that.
Right.
So some of the changes in the pay has been due to that. You see that a lot in nursing homes. There's not been any, changes so far in the pediatric realm.
Right.
It's kind of a day to day, year to year. You just never know what's going to come down the line.
Okay.
So, but it's more in the nursing home areas that you see where the changes, the funding. Acute care has pretty much stayed along the line, same as far as, but they're also the lowest paid for rehab jobs. So
acute, what exactly is?
Acute care is like inpatient hospital.
Okay.
So it's, and I worked at St. Bernard's for 13 years.
Okay.
So I did inpatient rehab, which was, I actually worked on the acute orthopedic floor. So I worked with patients that had just had surgery, shoulder, elbow, hand, hip, knee, ankle. I mean, it could be any surgical intervention. And I would work with them to get them back to where they could take care of themselves. A lot of times with the shoulder, elbow, hand, it was doing range of motion, just following protocols for the MDs.
Okay.
So,
but, and then what is your favorite part about working as an OT?
Oh, it's just seeing your patients do well, and to see that how much enjoyment and excitement they get from achieving new obstacles. Just they you have your little kid that hasn't been able to tie shoes, and the first time they tie their shoes, that's just such a huge thing.
Right.
Or you have your stroke patient that lost use of an entire arm or leg, and the first time they can move it, or the first time they can dress themselves by themselves, because our independence is a huge part of our life, and we take it for granted until we lose it. And so, the patients that have lost that ability and they're able to overcome it and to, regain their independence, you see that excitement in them. So it's so much fun. I mean,
that's so exciting. So excited. It really is. And then what are some struggles you faced as an OT or even in school?
As an OT, I would say I knew I was going to retire from St. Bernard's. I absolutely adored my job that I worked there. It was staffing. We did not have enough OTs to do the job that was needed. So, but with all the new programs that are opening up, staffing's not going to be the issue that it used to be.
Right.
But we had at one point gone from 9 OTs and 2 CODAs, I think, down to 2 OTs and 1 CODA in the hospital. Well, the caseload didn't change. So you go from having the staff to walking into a caseload that's just, I wouldn't say, I mean, it was a caseload that I could achieve. Did I feel like I was giving the best of my effort to, and did I feel like I was doing everything I could? No. And so that was my biggest struggle, because I loved what I did, but I did not feel like I was being the best OT I could. So it was time to change and make a change. So I went into pediatrics.
Okay.
And I can't even imagine not doing pediatrics now. There's not been an area truly that I do not love with OT. When I worked at St. Bernard's, I did inpatient, outpatient, rehab, home health.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to think. Day program. I did some education. I would go out in the community and do at the senior center, I would go and teach assistive devices. So I've done a lot with it. Now I've done pediatrics. I've worked in the nursing